long time ago, I committed a sin. I was weak.
Hi, how are you doing, Will? Nice to speak to you.
You too, man. You too.
So listen, congratulations on the Exorcism of God. I really enjoyed it. When I first, kind of the first 10, 15 minutes, it felt like it was going to be kind of a straight up love letter to kind of The Exorcist, which I imagine when you read the script at first, you kind of felt it going that way, no? But then it kind of brings this completely different curveball in there that I didn't expect at all.
Yeah.
Was that what pulled you in? Did it take you a little while to kind of get pulled into the scripts once you realized the kind of the social commentary and the themes that it was going to deal with later on in the story?
You know, it's yeah, what you say is very to point, because there's a lot of moments in this that are homages or that feel like we've seen this before, but then it continually surprises you with things that we've never seen before in a horror movie, or let alone in a film that deals with exorcisms. So, and then also, like you said, all the social commentary and the larger universal themes, which kind of reveal themselves as the script moves along, were all reasons, besides the fact that this character Peter has an amazing journey that he goes through, and not only an internal battle but an external battle. So it's it's exciting, and I think people are really enjoying it and enjoying the experience of watching this film for so many reasons that, and they end up having conversations afterwards because they talk about it, and like, this is not just a horror movie, this is like a movie.
Yeah, I mean, no, sorry, I was just going to say that I was speaking to Alejandro the other day, and he was really, I mean, he said that he used to be very religious, but then he lost his way a little bit because he couldn't really appreciate religion because it wasn't capable of kind of appreciating that gay people wanted to be together and these kind of things in the kind of the times that we're living now. Was that something that you discussed with him going into the film to portray those, but without kind of going over the top, without kind of offending religion, if you will? Because I do understand that a few religious people did kind of comment to him that they weren't particularly happy with what with the end product. No.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in Brazil who were writing on Twitter, "This is the most blasphemous movie I've ever seen. This movie is horrible. It's horrible for Christianity. This movie is horrible. This movie's, I can't believe this." I don't want to give away things, so, but yeah. And I feel like, Alejandro was bothered by that, and he was taking it personally. I said, "Alejandro, you're making a movie that not only is an amazing horror movie in the genre of the exorcism, but you're also challenging people to look at society and at corruption and at the cultural themes of the church and what it means to be a part of the church, and looking at these things in a very human way, wrapped in a horror movie." So it's, so the fact that you're getting these massive responses is great. I know it doesn't feel great because he's used to everyone loving him from the first movie, House at the Time, which has a much happier ending, and as much, it wraps itself up, and it doesn't get into these much more
kind of social commentary or anything like that. Yeah,
dangerous and exciting themes that make people uncomfortable and challenge people, and I think that's great. And I think that's what people are loving about the film. There's so many things people, I think, are loving about the film.
I mean, your role specifically, I understood that it was kind of alluding to these kind of stories we've seen in the newspapers now about kind of the sexual scandals and these kind of things. Was that something that you were kind of quite dubious and quite concerned about yourself, to play this kind of character that was commenting on these things that people might take the wrong way, even though it's just a fictional film?
Yeah, no, initially I was like, look, if we don't do this well, they're going to be alienated by my character in the first 15 minutes. They're going to hate me. They're going to be like, this is, I hate this guy. I don't want to see this movie. And I feel like that's a really fine line. And I feel like we walked it really well, enough that people feel conflicted, and they feel like, oh, I've been in that position in a certain way in something else in my life, so I have more empathy for this character. But no, that was my main concern. And then, do you hear this noise? There's like
I can't hear anything. No, I've got my kids speaking in the background, and I don't think you can hear them either as well. No, so
okay.
it's probably a mix of both.
There's like a weed whacker going on outside my apartment.
I can't hear it. Don't worry about it.
Good. Okay. So yeah. So then I felt like the rest of the movie, the way it's done, is it's not blasphemous. It's actually it's not. It's talking, and it's not, I don't want to say glorifying, but it's supporting people being of good faith, and people, I think at times, are not seeing what's happening within how the story is weaving. So they're getting a little bit confused at times, because there's a lot coming at them within the church, and within the possessions, and within the demon, and these things. There's a lot that's being mixed in. And sometimes I feel like people are just having these knee-jerk reactions, which makes me want to say, hey, see the movie again, see it again, because you're going to love it even more now that you have a deeper understanding of it.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, one of my colleagues for the site that I run, he wrote the review, and I don't think he really appreciated kind of the humor and the commentary as much as I did. So we had a really long conversation about it. I loved the film, and then he didn't hate it, but he didn't kind of understand what he was trying to get at, and we had a really meaty conversation about it afterwards. So that was something I really appreciated as well. Yeah.
That's great, because I think some people have these snap judgments, and they're not seeing the subtlety and the depth within which this movie offers these themes up for people to look at. So I'm so grateful and happy to hear you had a conversation with him, and you probably shed some light on what this is and what that is, versus his instant knee-jerk reaction that caused him not to be able to see clearly.
I mean, I don't know if it was because I'm in Spain, which is maybe a more Catholic country than I mean, he's in the UK. So I mean, maybe that had to do with it. So I mean, talking about that, because it was filmed in Mexico, was that also a concern of yours? I mean, I saw you could speak perfect Spanish. Could you speak Spanish beforehand? And were you concerned about dealing with religion in a foreign country for you?
So, no. First, I spoke Spanish. I started in junior high, and I have a decent amount of Spanish. I wouldn't say I'm fluent.
Yeah, but I think you did even like press. You did press. Did you do press over in Mexico? I saw a few videos. Yeah,
press in Mexico, and I did press in Venezuela. I was on some TV shows answering questions in Spanish, which was surreal and a lot of fun. I mean, I'm these, like, it's like Good Morning America or whatever, these hosts, and they're dancing, because everyone dances in Venezuela or Latin countries, when they start. And then I'm there with Alejandro and Maria Gabriela, and I'm getting these questions, and then I'm answering them as best I can in Spanish, and it was fun. And there were a few moments where I lost it. And
I think that everyone appreciates it.
It was great. Yeah, it was great, because it's a human experience. So
yeah, definitely.
I think people really appreciated it. But getting back to your question, so yes, I learned it, and no, I wasn't afraid, because I feel like the movie has a center, a moral center and truth to it that grounds it, and that it's not blasphemous, or that it's not controversial for being controversial. It's grounded in a human being doing the best he can with the circumstances he's in, and he moves forward through that 100% committed to what he's committed to. And I feel like I had no fear about that. And I've spent a lot of time in Mexico. My mom used to take my brother and I down to Ensenada, which is an hour south of the border of San Diego, and we would spend a lot of time down in Mexico. So I have a love and appreciation for Mexico and for its culture and its people. So that was already something that was like already in my heart. Like, I love people from Mexico. So that was an easy fix. I'd been to Mexico City before. I hadn't spent 6 weeks there, but I was super excited to spend 6 weeks there, because that's an amazing, complex city that, you have the best of things and the worst of things, and they're all mixed together, and it's an interesting experience.
Uh-huh. And I love also Alejandro said that he wanted to set it in Mexico, but with to have. I mean, you've got your British. I mean, I think he's lived in America for most of his life now. But your the colleague who's originally from the UK, and you obviously from America in this film. He wanted them to come from overseas or abroad because
Yeah.
he wanted to kind of give an inkling of this feeling of Trumpian times, that he's talking about building this wall to kind of build a barricade between South America and the US. Was that another topic that you kind of talked about, that it was you specifically going over there, showing that Americans really do want to be over there and help and do everything that they can over there?
That's another theme that we discussed, and is subtly woven through the film, whether it's not spoken about directly or not. But there's the concept of the white hero savior, which I'm happy we haven't got a lot of negative response to, because I feel like there's a genuineness of both myself and Father Michael, Joseph Marcel, that within the story, that it doesn't come off as arrogant or entitled, but it comes off as genuine people who care about others and who want to help places that are not as don't have the resources that we grew up with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, talking of Joseph, I mean, the scenes that you share with him, especially kind of once he arrives on the scene, they're just fantastic, and
Yeah.
the comedy there that just comes out of nowhere. Was that all spontaneous, or was that actually in the script? Because I mean, especially when you're kind of walking down through the prisoners, if you're walking kind of down death row almost, and the kind of looking around this place, those were just inspired comedy moments. It must have been fantastic to film those bits.
Those were in the script.
They were, yeah.
Alejandro wrote those. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I mean, Joseph Marcel brings this depth, and also at the same time this sarcasm and sardonic quality that really helps give the film another level of humor, but yet at the same time it doesn't feel like it's being humor for humor's sake, or that it pulls you out of the film, or that it feels it doesn't feel artificial. It feels like it's still within the experience that they're both having.
Yeah, I almost felt, sorry to interrupt you, I felt that it kind of almost grounded and made you kind of empathize more towards the two characters as people, rather than these religious people that were going to exercise these people. No,
Yeah. No, that's a great point too. Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, I would probably be thinking the same thing if I was them walking down those halls. Yeah, definitely. No, that's a very valid point. Yeah, and I feel like and the humor that he brings also, I feel like helps make, especially in the scene where we're in front of the bonfires, and we're sharing stories and drinks, that there's also more humanity there that's shown too, that makes people connect more to us and see us as human beings, and not as these holy people that are different than the people watching the movie. We're the same as you. You're us, we're you.
Yeah. Brilliant. And then obviously, I mean, talking about the less grounded parts of the film, a lot of exorcism films, they like to kind of fall back on, for lack of a better word, on the kind of the effects. But there really are some great effects in there. I mean, obviously, we talked about the social commentary and all the messages that are in the film, but at the same time, there's some really great effects. And I imagine most of it was done on camera now. Can you tell me a bit about working with Alejandro and the effects guys on set?
Yeah, no, they did an incredible job, because most of all the effects are all practical effects. So they were all done by hand in the trailer by these amazing, forgive me if I pronounce their names incorrectly, I haven't seen them in so long, but Ian Cromer and Lysander Washington they're a team, and they're from LA, and that's the makeup department. Those two guys, they're the special effects department. They did all the stuff with anyone that was possessed. They did the work, and all of it's practical. None of it's 3D. And there might be, I take that back, there might be elements of 3D that enhance certain things.
Just touched a few things up now. Yeah.
I don't want to say one thing if it's not true, and I actually don't know 100%. So, but the majority of everything is all practical, and I think that's also what people resonate with, because it keeps them connected to the movie.
Yeah.
It makes them feel like these are real possibilities that could happen. So your imagination is able to bridge that gap in a much better way than when you're seeing, these things in other big budget movies where you're like,
Yeah.
this is fake, dude. This isn't real.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I'm enjoying it, and I'm gonna be scared, and then I'll leave and I'll be like, okay, that was cool. And then you're on to the next. And I feel like
Yeah.
this movie, because of so many things, has a strong experience for people. It's a strong meal. They went to a restaurant and this is a big meal that they're chewing on.
Definitely. We've just got a couple of minutes left, so just to finish off, I was looking what you've got coming up, and the only thing I could see on IMDb for was you've done a couple of shorts. Was that something that you've done during lockdown, or is there anything else that you can tell us about?
Yeah, no, there were a couple shorts with some friends that they were like, "Hey, I have this idea, I want to do it," and I was like, "Sure." Part of what happened during the pandemic for me um, I want more and more to work with the friends and people I care about, and it's kind of an ethos that I've seen from some filmmakers who I'm inspired by, including this guy named Jim Cummings.
All
Um,
right, he's brilliant. Yeah, I love him. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
about work about he's gone away. He's doing everything on his own. He's
Yeah.
working with friends. He's making movies on his own terms, and I feel like more and more that type of experience is what resonates with me, because the the film business is really challenging, and not only the business itself, but making films is really hard. It's a really grueling, especially for a film like this. I mean, this film, like all the energy, all the experience it's on the screen, so you see it and people experience it and they appreciate it. And I think that's why there's such strong word of mouth about this film, and why it keeps staying in the theaters for so long and not dropping off like other films, is because it has a life. But so what I've been doing with that focus is I've been putting attention towards working with people I care about. So there's a few projects with directors that I've worked with before. I don't want to name names, but
Yeah.
we're developing some films, and some TV shows that are things that I'm a part of. I wouldn't say they're my baby per se, but they're things that I'm helping shepherd along. And it feels it feels it feels more what's the word, it feels more I feel more connected and empowered
Yeah.
to doing this. And if things come my way through auditions or through other opportunities, great, and I'll assess those as they come. But I'm more and more committed to doing things that resonate with me more directly. So,
Mhm.
like all the, you look at all the superstars, A-list stars, Brad Pitt, whatever, Jennifer Lopez, they're all doing stuff that interests them. So why can't someone like myself do the same?
Yeah.
Why do I have to be the one who's going through all the hoops, trying to get opportunities through that by getting other people's approval versus like making my own approval? Why can't I
Yeah.
be my own boss and work with people I want to work with? So that's where, that's where we're going. That's where I'm going. So that's
Perfect.
why I'm on I don't know if I'm on a different track, but I feel like I'm putting myself more and more on a different track.
Mhm. I mean, the fact that you want to tell your own stories, is that something that's maybe, I don't know if you write your own screenplays, or you're considering writing them, or directing your own movies? Because obviously that would be a great way to go down at the same time, to be able to tell the stories that you want to tell, no?
I am not considering directing anything. I am considering producing. I was an associate producer on a movie called Manhattan Night with Adrian Brody. Um,
Hmm.
and I was a producer on a short film that a friend of mine shot, and my girlfriend was in it, and she also produced it. So I feel like that's where my strength lays, is in story and in producing. So maybe I'll start writing, but I'm more of a connector and a larger story person than someone who's in front of
Sat
a computer.
down. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's where I feel like my strengths come. And so I want to incorporate those, and like I said, work with people that I like. Like Alejandro and I are talking about working on future films together, including um, his remake of House at the End of Time,
Right.
and most likely there will be a sequel to this film. So we plan on making that as well, and I think it sounds like it's going to be something that people are going to be excited by. So that's where I'm going. and it feels more fulfilling, and it feels more enjoyable.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, Will, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I wish you the best luck with the film when it comes out, and I look forward to your future projects with Alejandro or whoever you get time to work with. And as I said, whenever you want to come over here to the north of Spain, you're more than welcome, and we can go surfing together.
That would be amazing. I would love that. And Dios te bendiga.
Mismo digo. All right, take care. Have a good day, Will. All
You
the best.
too. You
Cheers
too.
then. Nice to meet you. Bye then.
As well.